Today's podcast is sponsored by the good people at Audible. Get a free audiobook download and a 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/nothingbutstatic, where over 180,000 titles await your choosing. That's a lot of choice, Chris. I don't know what I'd do.
That's loads of choice.
That's too much choice.
Loads of choice.
It's far too much choice.
For some.
Yeah. Well, it's too, certainly for me. But yeah.
I couldn't read it all. But if you're up for the challenge, visit the link.
Enjoy the podcast.
Yeah. I think it's too risky that they won't.
Hello and welcome to the final episode of our Steven University Out of This World Bomb, talking about the episode That Will Be All. So, Caris, thoughts?
We should drop the Caris thing. Is thought one.
Why?
Thought two.
Because the show did.
Yeah. Thought two, or synopsis rather. So Greg and Steven have escaped. The Amethysts take them into a room where we go, Amethyst has made some friends. Amethyst is there, our Amethyst is there, chilling out with the other guys. They all hate Holly Blue. They all, like it's basically like a big family reunion. Is the connotation
at the end? She refers to them as the Famethyst, which is actually kind of how fandom knows these Amethysts now. So that even awesome. Reading through the sort of Steven Universe Wikia pages, whenever they're referred to, it's the Famethyst because it's just the easiest way to phrase it. So yeah.
So they all chat, and she reveals that they're from Earth and they were waiting for more, and she is more, and there's also like a beta amethyst there. I think there's some jaspers there, isn't there?
There's a jasper and there's a carmelian, both from the beta kindergarten, and you'll notice they have that same, like jasper, different tint to them. They look a lot more like one of them is a jasper directly, so that makes sense. But the carmelian has a sort of jaspery sort of color scheme too. A little bit redder, I think, actually.
It suddenly makes a lot of sense. They're from Earth. They've been really badly treated by her, so it makes sense for why they're on our Amethyst side.
And also, obviously, they get on because as well, like because they are literally family. Because they even have one of them there was in the whole above Amethysts. So like they tie a really good direct link. And then on top of that, they throw the Holly Blue stuff on it, which makes it really make sense that they would.
Yeah.
Yeah. It
makes so much sense. So the three of them escape that room, and Steven and Greg run off, and they end up in a room where Blue Diamond is back, and then Yellow Diamond. Was not expecting that, Dan.
That's the big one, right? That's awesome.
Yeah,
of all the things I was expecting from this episode, when I originally watched it, I definitely did not anticipate Yellow Diamond being present in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I was proper like, Yellow Diamond. Yeah. So Yellow Diamond's like, get over
Holly
it.
Blue agrees with you, by the way. Holly Blue clearly agrees, because on the way out, she's all like, we just met Yellow Diamond. So you're on the same side as Holly Blue there.
So Yellow Diamond's like, get over it. Blue's like, I can't. Yellow Diamond's like, I'll sing you a song. And then she sings a song. About getting over it, and there's all these rose quartz diamonds bubbled throughout the room, and the implication is that they've collected them all up, and the intention is to shatter them in revenge for rose quartz shattering pink diamond. Blue's talking about, she's all they've got left is the zoo and Earth. She can't really seem to get over it. That's probably why her pearl is so naughty's emo. The haircut and the sad looks. Greg and Steven escape, but before escaping, it becomes clear Yellow Diamond's like, oh, well, if all you want is to round up the humans, let's get to work, implying that the threat is now going to be that the humans getting rounded up for the zoo purposes. Scary note to end things on. They then go out. Amethyst is there, and they all sort of totter behind a very excited Holly Blue, with the aim of escaping. Amethyst has to occasionally morph back into her Amethyst, etc., to hide Stephen and Greg. They get there. The Famethysts help by just not saying anything, letting them try to escape, and then Holly Blue notices, goes to kind of zap them with a, I don't know, what is that? Like a rope?
Yeah, it's like a whip. It's a bit like Amethyst's whip, it seems.
Yeah.
Oh.
Goes to whip them. Garnet
maybe it's supposed to have been a lasso, but we don't get to see it in real use because she sort of throws it towards them and it is very quickly dispatched. So
yeah, very like Garnet reforms. Amethyst does some spinny stuff and they capture her, and then Pearl gets her moment where she's kind of like, oh, because she says, I'm gonna send the diamonds on you, and Pearl kind of says, really, you're going to let the diamonds know that you let people escape? Like, that's your plan? That will be all. Like, it's sassy
so
Pearl.
Good. I love it.
And then they go off and they escape. So thoughts, I think there's some wonderful moments. The shock of Yellow Diamond, the sweetness of Ruby holding Sapphire's hand and that giving her the strength not to freeze up. The moment at the end where Stephen says, I found what I wanted, it was you, Greg. The looming threat, it's a really good looming threat of Blue Diamond and Yellow Diamond are going to attack in some way. The Famethyst stuff, knowing that they're all family and they help. I thought it had some really strong, great moments. I don't think it's a shame that we get, because I think some people you could go, I was really hoping for more of a fight. There's not really a fight at any point. There's the whip thing, but that's kind of dealt with very quickly, as you say. But I think that's dealt with in a perfect way. For you have a fight, you almost you kind of let Holly Blue win a little bit. Like, I like the idea that she's so easily defeated, and I like the idea that instead of having an all-out fight with Blue Diamond now, that's coming even more so. They've just kind of, this has upped the ante for what that next fight for Earth is, in a big bad way. I think all the plot points that needed to be wrapped up got wrapped up. Loving it. Yeah.
Honestly, I think it's an absolutely it's an insanely good episode. It's because it does so much good stuff. So, in 11 minutes, it doesn't feel rushed, but it should. Because even then, when you were doing that bit sort of towards the end of the summary, where you sort of like talk about the things you liked and you listed them, I was like, shit, all that happened in one episode. You're like, yeah, well, we got the
minutes, yeah.
And you were like, yeah, we got the Famethyst and the payoff for that, and then I'm thinking, yeah, Yellow Diamond, yeah, ticking that off, and you're like, Holly Blue, the moment of Pearl being like, that'll be all, like all that.
There's a fucking song in that as well.
There's a song. There's a song. There's all the implications about all those rose quartzes being captured. There's like, and there's the beautiful moment between Sapphire and Ruby. And then there's some funny bits too, which is what Greg being like, yeah, I'm gonna go. Like, well, I can't remember exactly how he phrases it, but they're like, do you want to leave now? Oh, can we leave now? And Greg's just like, yes, please.
Yeah, they're like, Greg, Stephen, get on the ship, and Greg's like, yes, please.
Yeah, and then there's like that. This is the amazing moment, of course, of Holly Blue being sort of outsmarted and outmatched. And the Famethyst, obviously, that the payoff for the Famethyst reveal is that they don't help Holly Blue stop them from escaping. There's a million and one amazing things that happen in this episode, and it's like you list them all and you go, how was that 11 minutes? Like, it's incredible. Because if you told me prior to me watching it that all those moments were going to happen in this episode, if you'd sort of given me that rundown, I'd be like, there's no way that's 11 minutes, or doesn't feel rushed. But it doesn't.
Yeah, and it
somehow.
No.
I'm not even sure how. It's genuinely incredible.
All those moments are basically the whole episode. Not a single bit of this episode is filler. Not a single thing is wasted. Every single scene is a moment.
Yeah.
I thought the song was really good as well. I don't usually compliment. It's not my first go-to to compliment the songs, but I thought it was one of the most, especially the bit at the end, where it's, what's the point in feeling? What's the point in feeling? It felt more to me like a musical style song than any of the other songs have.
I think,
or maybe that's not. I'm sure there
no,
are other songs that fit that camp, but it felt very theatrical.
It did, and there's a reason for that. I believe Yellow Diamond is voiced by Patti LuPone, who is a very famous actress from musicals specifically. She does musical theatre
cool.
and has an incredible voice, and obviously does an incredible job here. So I think maybe they styled the song to her, sort of, not to make it easier for her, but just to sort of honour specifically who was voicing Yellow Diamond.
Okay.
I think it was. I think that they were respecting the voice actress they'd managed to get, and she's an absolute legend of the musical theatre scene. And I think that's. I think they were sort of. I think they very much geared that song towards her as like a nod to her career, and it is a great song, and it has a bunch of really cool reveals in it too. Like we find out that like she talks about like how an agate terrifies, a lapis terraforms. So that's really fascinating. So the idea of an agate, like a holly blue, is like to be like the equivalent to like a human general, not general, like a like a scout master, or whatever you want to call them. The taskmasters, in the army. What are you doing, son? Get off your that sort of like the archetype of the scary dude that gets the troops riled up. The idea is the agate is supposed to be that, and that makes sense because we've just met Holly Blue, who is an agate and very much fulfills that role. And then the idea of a lapis terraforms makes so much sense. So for those of you who don't know the concept of terraforming, I imagine most of you who watch science fiction do it, because it comes up a lot in science fiction. When I was younger, my first understanding of that word came from science fiction rather than actual science. But the concept of terraforming is the idea of taking a planet and making it like Terra, making it like Earth-like, so changing the atmosphere so it's habitable, basically. And the idea that lapis, or a lapis, a gem with that sort of water power, could adjust the atmosphere and surface of a planet makes so much sense, because lapis has always seemed like an absurdly powerful gem, and her ability to like make the ocean go away, very much says how powerful lapis can be, and it makes so much sense that would be Lapis's role in all of this. So when that moment happened, originally, like that line just ran through my head a million times. I was like, that's so fucking awesome. Preparing worlds for colonization makes so much sense for that character. So yeah, I really, really like that moment. And like you, I'm very intrigued. It's funny, I didn't quite get the same impression you did about the rose quartzes, because you said sort of like, oh, they're being sort of saved for shattering. I feel like Yellow Diamond wants them shattered because she wants to put the whole thing behind her, but Blue Diamond has had them sort of preserved and captured rather than doing that. Because I'm pretty sure
I thought she says, "Have you not shattered these yet?"
Yeah, like that's what she wants Blue to do, but Blue won't do it because they were Pink's creations. So she's like, why would you not shatter this type of gem that was evidently, at least in one case, defective enough to actually kill a diamond, to shatter a diamond. And Blue, because they were creations of Pink's, can't bring herself to do it. And it's really, as well, it says a lot about the gem society that, one gem is defective from their perspective, and rebels, and they decide that entire line of gems needs to be bubbled. The chances are that none of those quartzes would have done that, but it doesn't even matter. And there's a really great moment that I didn't actually notice on any viewing of this episode until this one, because I guess there's just so much on screen at that point, because the diamonds are in the background, and the whole time Stephen and Greg are sort of running around pillars trying to hide from them, and then you got the pearl singing and getting on the hand, and all. There's so much going on in this scene that I never noticed, but there's a moment when Stephen looks at the gems bubbled and then looks down at his own gem.
Yeah, it's really nice.
For whatever reason, my eyes never picked up on that. I don't know if I was just always looking somewhere else in the shot. And I've seen this episode maybe 4 times. And it's a great moment. So there's just so much going on, and it's all crammed into 11 minutes, and none of it feels rushed. So there's a lot going on. How did you feel about the way they've characterized yellow and blue? Specifically, because I found that very interesting, that Blue is not quite... yellow is what you imagine the diamonds to be the way they're established early on in the show, and blue feels very different. And I found that quite interesting.
Blue feels different because of this tragedy. I think that blue shows the odd flicker of anger and shows that she can be like yellow moment. Blue's whole shift when she's going, I didn't send a sapphire, is what blue used to be. She's just distraught by pink diamond getting shattered.
Mm. But do you not think that characterizes her? The thing I took from it that I found most interesting, that's exactly what I was thinking about when I was thinking about the way they were characterized. But the extra sort of thing I got out of it was, I think it's interesting to note that Yellow Diamond is far colder and far more willing to just move on than Blue is, which makes me think, or made me think, certainly when I was watching this, that Homeworld coming after Earth might not be as much of a threat as you think, because it feels like Blue could potentially end up helping.
Oh, maybe, I suppose, yeah.
I saw Blue as more redeemable than Yellow when I watched this episode. And this bomb in general.
But you imagine that the minute Blue finds out Steven is Rose Quartz.
Well, exactly. This is the other tension of it, which is you get a sense that if Blue went from, if Blue turned to anger, it could be potentially very fierce and very ferocious. But I found it interesting the diamonds weren't all on the same page. I guess I always assumed the diamonds were all kind of similar and had a similar attitude and a similar sort of, but it feels very much that Blue has all this like it's quite emotional and quite sort of in touch with how she feels, whereas Yellow is very, very reserved and pushes it all down and is like moving on and quite cold about the whole thing. I feel like a little bit here as well when Yellow is talking sympathetically. I don't when I first heard this song, I don't for a second believe that moment when Yellow says yes, I know we still love her and we're always thinking of her. I'm thinking, I don't feel that from you. Like, that feels like you're just saying that. Like, yes, we loved her. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, no, it didn't come across sincere at all for me when I watched this.
I felt that at the end where she grips the sides, and just looks. I think she does look in pain then at the end of the song where she's gripping the sides in sort of angst and anguish. I felt pain from her then about the situation. Maybe she's burying it deeper.
Yeah, that's interesting.
She's just keeping that shit locked down.
Okay, yeah, no, because I'd always taken from it that like I thought Yellow was a bit more like I don't think Yellow. I didn't get the impression Yellow gave any like. I think I got the impression she was quite cold from it. But yeah, I suppose you're right. It just didn't feel very sincere when she's like, of course we still loved her, but move on. Like that feels like the thing that someone would say who doesn't really get it. So that's always how I saw it. But you're right, actually. I suppose the animation-wise, that moment when she grips the thing, it certainly suggests more legitimate, sincere sort of anguish than the song in itself does. And obviously the song I hear more because I've got the soundtrack and that comes without the visuals. So maybe that's where that's come from over the course of time. I found it I just found it very interesting that they were characterized so differently. I certainly wasn't expecting that, and I should have been, because the show has always shown a certain amount of depth to its characters, and the idea that they'd all be exactly the same is kind of like, that would be terrible. That would not be good.
In a way, though, I found it more interesting them characterizing the two pearls so differently.
Oh yeah,
because it's sort of the implication that what the pearl's master is like so firmly affects the pearl, and that like, because at one point, I swear at one point they cut it in such a way that makes it look like Blue Pearl sees Steven and Greg. Like, she sort of looks up and then it cuts to them running away, and I'm like, did she see them? Like, is she so melancholy that she's like, fuck it? Huh?
Yeah, that's a really interesting point. I didn't catch that moment, but I'm going to have a scrub through the episode now and see if I can find it. That's really interesting.
Have a scan through, see what you think. It could be me misreading, but I thought that implication, the implication that Blue Diamond is so down that her pearl is also, like I say, Naughty's emo pearl, and Yellow Diamond is so like that's what her pearl is like, and then maybe you go, did our pearl suddenly like our pearl's feelings for Rose? You put them in a context of that, and you're like, well, is that the relationship? I'm not saying it is. I think that was a genuine love that went beyond that. But do you see what I mean?
No,
it just frames everything
absolutely
in a really interesting way.
It's fascinating because you're absolutely right. Maybe the reason pearls were chosen to be so subservient is because when they get passionately behind a leader, they really do. And you could certainly put some of our pearls early, sort of impassioned, sort of fighting for our Rose, maybe as that, and maybe it turned into something more genuine and sincere later on. But you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
I think it is very noteworthy that these pearls take on so much of their sort of, for lack of a better term, sort of master's, personality and approach. I think that does say an awful lot, actually. The hoity-toityness and the sort of the high-mindedness of the yellow pearl versus the very down and sort of, of blue pearl, and the fact that like the yellow pearl is so willing to start singing and blue pearl has to be coaxed into it because she's not feeling up to it. Do you know what I mean? Like
exactly.
It's little details like that. You're absolutely right, and the implication. This is why this show is so good, because at any other show, a moment like that, you would just think of that as like, oh, okay, that particular character feels this way and that particular character feels this way. But in this show, you can read into it further and you can get things like that out of it, which is right. You maybe that is because you think about the Lapis thing again. Lapis terraforms because it suits. That's the job they found for Lapises because that suits their skill set. Maybe the reason in Gem Society pearls are subservient is because of that, and the idea that that's like it's born out of function. Is not any actual sort of we're bigger, stronger than you thing. It's just actually we're better at leading, you're better at following, and it's that whole thing. And she says it earlier as well in the song. She talks about like an army has its use, it can go and fight a war. A sapphire has her use, she can tell you what it's for. And that's like another amazing like line as well. That like the way about the way they use sapphires in Gem Society as well, and you can imply a lot from the way the pearls act. So you're absolutely right to have found that quite interesting. I'm still scrolling through the episode. I can't find the moment you're thinking of, but I'm going to keep looking because it's scrubbing through isn't as efficient on VLC as it is on QuickTime. So bear with me a moment. I'm going to see if I can find it.
Yeah. I mean, I might be wrong, or I might see if I can have a pinpoint it, but. Yeah, I think that song, I imagine that song has been dissected amongst people and almost like referred back to time and time again whenever we, experience more gem behaviour. It certainly felt like, as I was watching it, I was kind of going, almost like to re-listen or look at the lyrics to this song to see what can be pulled from it.
Yeah, and what's cool now is that, by the way, I think you've now heard every single song that is featured on the soundtrack. The soundtrack was produced
really?
At a point when this was the furthest song they had. Obviously,
cool.
Knowing that there's a chunk more episodes, you can probably imagine that the songs that aren't on that have now aired. But when the soundtrack was released, this is as far as they went. So the second to last song on the album is What's the Use of Feeling Blue, and the very last song is the full version of Love Like You, finally put together. The song from the credits that they built up over that time.
Credits.
It goes, and it even has I Could Never Be Ready, from the Three Gems and a Baby episode. Here Comes a Thought, which we heard recently. Don't Cost Nothing, and then it goes right back as far as like Cookie Cat and Giant Woman and Strong in the Real Way. Definitely. You can now listen to that. So if you're interested in any way, it's a soundtrack worth digging out. It's on Spotify. If you've got Spotify, Chris, you can have a listen to it there.
I've got Apple Music. I suspect it's on that too.
Yeah. Probably is on there.
I think I
downloaded it from iTunes. So no, I'm still scrubbing. I can't know, but it doesn't mean it's not there. It just means It could be. It just means I'm shit at doing this. I don't know. Have you had a look, or you look? Oh, you'd look later, wouldn't you?
No, I'll have a look now. You say you got Triv or something while I look.
So you got any Triv, Dan? Looking, trying to find my moment. There's not much for this one actually, because a lot of it we sort of hit on, because it's so everything in this episode that could be of interest is like it's so interesting you talk about it. So yeah, but the blue agate of course says if you do want something done right, you just do it yourself, which is obviously that playwright whose name I can never pronounce. He originally came up with that line, and it's Charles Guillemot Etany. I've never been able to pronounce it in my life. I've never heard someone say it, so I've only ever seen it written down. So I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce that playwright's name. But that's obviously. I mean, I don't suspect here they were directly quoting the playwright who came up with that phrase. It's just become a popular phrase, isn't it now? Like, if you want something done, do it yourself. You know, like so,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So I really thought that the. I wanted to quickly mention as well that what I loved about the way they escaped is that all three of the main gems had a part to play in it. So like even before Pearl's moment of you don't want to let the diamonds know you let us get out of here, Garnet catches the rope. Then I think Pearl cuts it with her spear, and then Amethyst sort of wraps it up and then uses it to tie up Holy Blue. And apparently the tying up the villain in this particular visual and having them sort of slump forward like that is apparently quite a common visual of how villains were tied up in old superhero cartoons, particularly in sort of the Hanna-Barbera era. So apparently that's sort of like a little nod to old school like Hanna-Barbera cartoons and stuff, which I think is pretty cool. Let's have a look. Skinny and Carnelian's holes from the Beta Kindergarten were presumably the two we looked at in Beta, because in the episode Beta, when Peridot's trying to explain that the Beta Kindergarten isn't as good as the Prime one, which Amethyst came from, there is a hole that's skinnier and there is a hole that's shorter. So you could argue those are potentially Skinny and Carmelian's holes. That's a pretty nice nod. There's two weird little animation bugs that are interesting. A Holly Blue Agate's hair turns pure white when she pulls out her whip, and that's they're not sure if that's an error or not. The red eye that was hovering around the zoo in the previous episode when we saw the overall view, that's vanished. Not sure if that's intentional, like it's gone somewhere, or if it's no longer monitoring it because the diamonds have arrived, or if it's just a glitch. I'm not sure. There's some interesting and of course actually something I wanted to mention which we haven't done, which is how cool was it to see that ship, that space station sort of surrounded by both Diamond's ships, the blue and yellow arms.
Yeah, that was cool.
What a great shot. What a fantastic shot. And it only just really occurred to me how much that ship looks like a dagger.
Yeah, the whole thing,
station.
like in that context with the hands around it, was just an awesome visual.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah, no, 100% agree.
I have found it, by the way. If you want to,
have you? What can you? Have you got like a time code? Or?
620. You've got the blue and yellow pearls, sort of standing there, and then blue pearl turns her head, and then in my view, in potentially where they are, and then they move across. See what you think.
I'm pulling it up.
But it could be that she's just, I don't know. It might be me.
No, because that'd be very interesting if accurate. Let's have a quick look. Oh, by the way, I don't know if you've noticed, but the diamonds' irises in their eyes. So if you go to 614, when there's the close up of yellow, it's clearest. Their actual pupils are diamond shaped.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I thought that too. Yeah, I think that's cool. So here you go, 620. So yellow sort of grabs the thing and falls over. Yeah, you're right. That's a real look of anguish, by the way. And then I think she's just looking at yellow based on the positioning.
Yeah, watching it back, I think that's it as well.
It's because by the time you get, if you get to the shot at 6:30 in the episode, you'll see from the angle of where the two pearls are stood in relation to yellow, it's like her gaze drifted from straight ahead, not paying attention, to looking at yellow's face. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, looking back at it, I think it's that. But on initial watch, I was like, oh, she's turned and noticed something. Oh, they're running. Is it that?
Yeah, I don't think it is.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, potentially a good spot though. I certainly haven't noticed the look before.
I have a final point or an additional point, but what's the triv sitch?
No, I've gone through it all. That's everything. There's not much because it's all stuff that you would talk about anyway.
I feel like we've not. I want to make it clear because I feel like other than they're awesome, I don't know how much more detail about the moments like Ruby and Sapphire and Pearl's sass at the end we can go into.
So
I don't want people to
satisfying.
think we skipped over those, but like, so the Ruby and Sapphire one, it's just a really nice nod to their connection and so subtly done. And I just love that they did it in such a way that the people wouldn't have noticed, but it just would have really helped her and calmed her down. And they did such a good job of that thing where we complimented it loads on Fringe, where whenever someone's lying on TV, it's really difficult to do because it's usually done in a way that you're like, how would anyone believe this lie? It's so obviously a lie, but you can absolutely see that A, she's lying, and B, why they still believe her though, which is really cool. Joshua Jackson, I still maintain his performance in Fringe is the king of that. So many times he's bullshitting, but you see he's bullshitting, but you also see why the person believes him. And with the Pearl moment, just so satisfying. So unbelievably satisfying.
Absolutely incredible. Like that, yeah. It's because they set it up so thoroughly. Like they probably Blue Agate do it 5 episodes ago, 3, only 2 actually. Jesus. And obviously it's something that Peridot did early in their sort of time with Peridot. Back to the Barn era, I think. And then what the payoff for that and they do it again in this episode to reaffirm it as well. Like Yellow Diamond dismisses them that way exactly as well. So by the time you get to the point when Pearl is just like, that'll be all. I'm like, oh, it's so good. It's the same pose, it's the same look, it's perfect. And it really does just, it's hard to explain. It's just satisfying. There's just nothing else to describe it. It's just pure satisfaction. It's just like, yes! I don't know. I really love that moment. And I think that it's one of the clearer excuses to give an episode the title it has, that the show has had. Sometimes the titles are a bit
it just
vague.
makes you cheer, and you're just like, that's the title, yeah!
Yeah, I don't know, there's something about it that just really, hits really powerfully. And I don't know if it's just that it's like they've laid it in so well that because I suppose that is the way to make a payoff work, is to make sure you've established it sufficiently enough that people understand exactly the power of that moment without needing more context than they've already got. Does that make sense? So through a few little references, and it has been pretty subtle. It's no one's ever gone, I hate the way the pearls, the superior gems always dismiss us that way. Do you know what I mean? They'd never drawn too much attention to it, but they did it just enough for you to notice.
Yeah,
and that's kind of perfect.
Definitely.
So you feel like you've picked up on that yourself, which is I really like it. I think it's a really clever sort of device. And when I first watched this episode, between the song, which I loved, and that, I was like, that's awesome.
Yeah. So it just makes you want to cheer. I had a lot. Like I said, I think it just wrapped the bomb up beautifully. Gave us so many great moments. And the big thing made you look to, which not many of the bombs have done as well, which has made you just go, oh, what happens next? That tease, that the possibilities for where this goes beyond this are just really exciting. It's like one of my favorite things. A critically disliked episode of Doctor Who, Victory of the Daleks, which I think is slightly unfair because mainly people just dislike the Power Ranger Daleks. But the whole episode often gets a lot of criticism.
I think on the page, it's one of Mark Gatiss' more tolerable episodes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree. And I think that one of my favourite elements of that is that the Daleks get away. And then someone says, are you worried about the Daleks? And the Doctor says, I'm always worried about the Daleks. And I just love that notion that you can do that you don't have to wrap everything. It can just be, well, that villain's out there now. And the Daleks are always out there. So it makes so much sense for them to just go, well, they're out there. But it just feels
and no.
like...
Part of what makes that awesome is that if you look back on every other interaction the Doctor has had with the Daleks, the 3 or 4 seasons, or sorry, 5 seasons prior to that, they always get away. No, he always destroys them.
Yeah, he always defeats them.
Defeats them to the point that they're gone. They're never gone. Obviously, they keep finding excuses to bring them back. But Rose obliterates them at the end of the first season. They all get sucked into a parallel dimension at the end of the second season. The remaining couple of
specifically, not the parallel dimension.
That's right. In the void, in the space between the parallel dimensions, and then in the third series with Martha, you get that running theme of the last remaining cult of Skaro members trying to revive the Daleks in various ways, and he keeps stopping them. But they're all, the idea that a fully functional battalion of Daleks just is back out there. But that part of what makes that moment powerful is knowing that every other time that the Doctor and the Daleks have faced off, maybe one of them has escaped, but on the whole, the fleet and their numbers were destroyed. It made it way more powerful.
I think this is different slightly, but it's kind of similar. What makes this powerful is you know what they're doing. So you always know Homeworld's out there, and you always know Homeworld at any moment could come and attack Earth. But the fact that you know they're out there planning to have an assault on Earth, the fact that you put that context to it, it's not just Homeworld, it's yellow and blue, really led by yellow, just makes it feel like even more of a looming threat.
Well, I'll read you the exact exchange, because I just think it's interesting. Oh, by the way, 10 points to Sapphire for coming up with the best possible lie. By the way, I forgot about that. I just saw it in the transcript when I was pulling up the lines. Yeah, she says my future vision foresaw you, my diamond, desiring more humans for the zoo, so I acted accordingly. And Blue's just like, it's true. The window for preserving Earth specimens is closing. And then that's when Yellow Diamond 10 says, is that what you want? Sapphire, has the cluster emerged yet? And Sapphire obviously says, no, it has not. And she goes, then there's still time. That will be all. And that is, that's how that ends. So you're right. The implication being that at some point that they're going to potentially start rounding up the Earth folk is quite a tantalizing idea.
Definitely.
Yeah. So I think I think that might be all.
I think we're done.
Yeah, I think we're done. So on the whole, because there was a bold sort of cliffhanger you left last week, Chris, when you sort of said this might be the best bomb.
Oh yeah,
how you feeling?
For me, it's my favourite bomb.
Good.
Yeah, I can look at like even when I think of Sardonyx, which was fantastic. The one I really remember is Keystone Motel. That's the episode. I think about that episode more than that bomb. Whereas with this, when you say to me the Out of This World bomb, I will picture in my head the whole bomb, the whole story of the bomb across these 5 episodes. And as you said yesterday, I think that's what the bomb should be. I think that's how a bomb should make you feel. And same with the first bomb. I only really think of the return and jailbreak. So
yeah,
with this, I will picture this whole event. That's my favourite use of doing a bomb.
Yeah, I think maybe that's the best way to describe it, because I think what I sort of not regretted, but I sort of think I phrased it badly when I talked about it yesterday. I was like, I sort of said, a bomb should be like this, to make use of it. But I think it's more me saying that I personally, the better way to phrase it is pretty much how you just did, which is I personally think that if you're going to use this format of doing the 5 episodes across the week, this is the best way to do it. So I think I do. I think I do agree with you there. It is a good one. It certainly is a good one. The one coming up is also pretty good though. We got another. It's a slightly different approach to making all the episodes link. But I think it's.
So is the other one this season?
Yeah.
And this is the last bomb that we've got.
Yes, because there is
at this point in recording.
Yes, because there is another. There have been 2 other events where they dropped, a couple episodes at once, but they weren't done as a bomb. Like the for example, there's episodes 131 through to no, I'm not getting that wrong. Episode 129 through to 132, the 4 episodes there. those ones all aired on the same night as a like a 1 hour TV special called Wanted. And that's pretty that's very bomby as well, but it didn't air that way.
Yeah.
It aired in one night, and sadly we can't put all 4 episodes up in one night. So we'll just do that. We'll do those episodes 1-to-1, like Tuesday, Friday, like we have been doing.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I think yes, that the bomb that's coming up, starting episode 124 with Lion for Ultimate. That's the last bomb we'll do until another actual bomb happens.
And for anyone potentially going, "Oh, go on, that's a shame, do it that way." One of the reasons, because we've already discussed this, one of the reasons to not do it that way is we'll just, especially if no new episodes have aired since. It would be different if we had another summer maybe between that, but it would just be, to blow 4 episodes at once wouldn't be good for us or you, because it would just get to the point where we have no episodes to discuss sooner.
Yeah, we're trying to delay that as much as possible. So in a weird way, the bombs have turned out to be a bad thing, because we could have dragged this out a couple of months, Chris, if we had decided to release the bombs this way. No, we just don't want to. We don't want to run out of episodes too quick. Basically, we want to give the show as much time as possible to pump out as much episodes as possible, so we can keep doing this uninterrupted. We have got to acknowledge though that most likely August, September, we'll be caught up. Even if they keep releasing episodes over the summer, August, September, we're going to be caught up to the actual show, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And then we, as discussed, it will be a combination of topic episodes suggested by you guys and us rewatching selected episodes, and of course our Honey We Shrunk Steven University bomb. I still stand by, as well as maybe once we've done the Honey We Shrunk University bomb, Honey We Shrunk Steven University bomb, we should, as well, that Over the Garden Wall is a really good stopgap. 12 episodes, really great TV. So I think that's what I mean. If you had asked me what else is worth watching other than Steven Universe, if you said to I really like this show you've introduced me down, what else should I watch? My first point of call might actually be Over the Garden Wall. So I think that would be a great thing for us to sort of experience, and the lovely voice work of Elijah Wood. Who doesn't like Elijah Wood? I like Elijah Wood.
Yeah, and it's cool that because it's a 12-episode thing, it wasn't a big commitment for him, so he just did it, which is really cool.
Say that again.
Well, so that's another option.
You cut out.
Oh, I just said that's a it's cool that that's sitting there. That'd be a good option, I think, for us to fill in the gap.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so there we go. The bomb. Let us know what you thought below. Mm-hmm. Give us your thoughts.
Well, and as well, I know that would be a dumb thing. I hate when YouTube channels do that.
What?
Like when they go when they say it gets to the end of a video and they're like, "What do you think about this?" and they ask a very specific question to elicit answers, and I hate it because it always feels like they're just doing it because they want the comments, because it pushes them higher up the YouTube ad thing. I'm actually interested in what people think.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be that channel.
Yeah, no, I wasn't meaning it like that. I was talking about that sense of genuinely, whenever I've said anything like that, it's about a sense of community and interacting. So
no, I wasn't accusing you. I nearly said something that felt more like that in my head, and I backed out.
I'm with you.
I stopped myself before I said it, and then then you asked, you queried my the way I'd started talking and then stopped. It's because I was going to do something that could have felt like that, and then I was like, nope, I don't want to do that. No. Anyway,
fair play.
Yeah. No, I think that's cheap, and I think if you guys want to talk about something, you talk about something. You don't need me to be like, what do you guys think about Holly Blue? Do you think that her whip should have been a whip, or should it have been a lasso? Let me know in the comments below. I won't read them because I'm a YouTuber that doesn't give a shit. AdSense. I don't want to be that guy.
Nah, that's fair. That guy's irritating.
Yeah, I hate that guy.
Just your impression of that guy was irritating.
Yeah. But the thing about it is that was a very accurate impression. How many YouTube videos end with them going, "Let us know what you think in the comments below about this. Is this person this way, or should they be like this?" And it's like, you're not going to read these responses. I read every single one of our comments, and at the moment, between moving and a very stressful new job that is keeping me extremely busy, as Chris has found out this week, due to having to do some rescheduling of podcasts, I am really sorry that I've not been replying to the comments. So I've noticed a lot of new people commenting as well that we haven't seen before, and I would love to be replying to everyone. So those guys, especially the people who've obviously clearly just started commenting on our videos. I've seen a few new names. I am sorry. I promise I will go back through them. Like, we had people thank, one comment that I'm dying to get back to and I haven't gotten to yet is somebody who thanked us for introducing them to Captain Disillusion, the YouTube channel, a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, cool.
And because I could not recommend that channel enough, and it was nice to know that even one person that heard what I said and went, yes, I'll check that out, because I think he deserves all the attention he can get as a YouTuber. So I'm hoping that at some point I'm going to get an hour or two to sit down and get back through the comments from the last few episodes. Because from the perspective of us recording this, we're a million miles ahead now. We're recording this bomb, but in reality, what episode just went out? Let me check. Buddy's Book.
Buddy's Book, yeah.
Yeah, no, at 106 just went out. And you guys have been commenting, and I'm reading every single one of them. I absolutely promise. I just wish I had more time to reply.
I'm intrigued about because obviously Mindful is next, and that there were elements of that podcast that got deep. So I'm intrigued as to what audience reaction is going to be to that one as well.
Yeah, I got honest, didn't I? I got real honest.
Yeah.
So,
sorry.
yeah. Well, I suspect what. If I was guessing the reaction to that episode, I'm hoping that other people will have felt the same way watching it that I did, which is that they'll have. Oh, no, I'm not hoping people will have experienced what I experienced.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that
I think so.
That the people who did will be agreeing that they got the same thing out of the episode that I did. And because it's a powerful episode. Yeah, it's a powerful episode. Yeah. And I'm hoping everyone else will just make fun of us. I'm kidding.
Well, no, I might get some shit. Because don't forget, that episode starts with me being like, it's just a music video. So...
Yeah, but to be fair, I mean, the only people who would give you shit for that are the people who don't listen to the whole podcast. The sort of people who will pause the video to comment before actually listening on. Those are the people that might give you some shit, and then they'll probably comment again 20 minutes later saying, you've come round to it. So
yeah, there's nothing. By the way, there's nothing wrong if people do, because I know some of our users do that, or they write one big commenting as they go, and that's awesome. Yeah. So don't stop doing.
Oh no, I wasn't criticizing. I'm just saying those are the people who might give might say something in line with what you're thinking, but those people will also. Yeah, those people will then will probably hear the rest of it, and I would imagine it would change their mind, because I think you come around to appreciating it a bit more as I sort of explained its importance.
More so than any other episode of the show, definitely.
Yeah.
Cool. Right, there we go.
Yeah. Well, thanks very much again for listening, everyone. It's been a fun bomb. This is the first bomb we've done since the episodes have gotten to this length. So it's a lot of content we've pumped out in a week. I hope you guys have enjoyed that. We'll keep going. We're keeping going. I'm having fun. I'm still really enjoying this podcast. Most of our podcasts.
Oh yeah, me too.
Once we got to 100, I was fucking. I'm done. Like MBS, mate. I don't know why we're still doing it. 150 nearly now. Fuck it. Who cares? Fringe Observers, we got out. We got out just in time, mate. Just in time. But this one, we're well in. What was it? 118? Loving it.
I'm still enjoying Nothing But Static as well.
No, me too. I always enjoy doing Nothing But Static. I'm kidding. So yeah, thanks very much for listening, guys. We'll see you next. I don't want to say see you next Tuesday, because in England that has another connotation. We will see you on Tuesday as we discuss an episode that Chris will be excited to hear. Is titled "The New Crystal Gems."
Oh, boom! There we go.
What do you think that might be about, Chris, with your theory?
I think that is about the people left on Earth forming new crystal gems.
There you go. I had a feeling you'd enjoy that, because this whole bomb, you've been predicting that since the first episode, and I've been resisting telling you the episode title for the one directly after it. But
that's awesome.
Isn't that great? News. Yeah, I thought you'd appreciate that. So yeah, it's the new Crystal Gems. We'll be talking to you guys about that on Tuesday. So thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you then. I've been Dan Doolan.
I've been Chris Billingham.
And I've already done this bit, and I'll say it again just because I didn't do it in the right order. We'll speak to you on Tuesday when we discuss the new Crystal Gems. That will be all.